Today we have an Emmy-winning TV producer and an AI video expert, Archer, with decades of experience in storytelling from major TV productions to groundbreaking AI-powered films. Eric is at the forefront of how technology is transforming creative content. He's the mind behind Smarty Pants, a powerful AI ecosystem that is changing the game for content creators. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You've had a fascinating journey from traditional TV production to now doing AI-driven storytelling. What first sparked your interest in AI?
Well, I've had to learn the newest technology for the last 20 years. I've been working in the video space, the television space, and it's always what is the new technology that we have to learn, whether it's a new camera or a new editing software or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's, going from analog to digital, or when everybody started shooting videos with cell phones and aspect ratios changed, or when everything went HD, or everyone got green screens or drones. I mean, there's always something changing, and AI was coming. And when Midjourney came out, it became pretty clear to me that everything was going to change as we could start to generate assets instead of shoot them. Instead of taking all my equipment and people and money and stuff like that and having to go on location and shoot things. Now you can just do it on your laptop.
Yeah.
Or a lot of it anyway.
With the AI to the industry evolving so fast, right? What excites you most about their potential for filmmakers and content creators?
Well, I think what makes me the most excited is that individual creators are so much more powerful now because they have access to tools that can enable them to tell their stories in a way that's much closer to the way that they imagine them. And when I was coming up through my career, I had to move to New York City, which I did. And then I had to move to Los Angeles, which I did. And I had to go to school for this stuff, which I did. And there's so many things that I had to do to get close to this industry to even have a chance to do the work. And even then, it was still almost a 0% chance anything of mine was ever going to be made. And that was, those are my chances with all of that opportunity. So I think about people all around the world who are wanting to do the same thing, and they're as talented or more than I am. And now they have a chance to create things in the scene and maybe make money and at a minimum be able to scratch a creative itch that is very satisfying to do just for yourself.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm at a period where I get to experience the changes, the technology, and everything that AI brings.
It's really incredible. I mean, it brought us together, right?
Yeah. You've worked on innovative AI-powered projects like Rufus and The First Artist. What challenges did you face blending AI with storytelling?
Well, there are a lot of challenges with the technology still. It's so new. And when I was making those projects last year, it was very new. And so a lot of the tools just were really unreliable. And I think that's why you hear so much about it's the content made with AI is unemotional, or it's not as good or as personal, because it's not. It just is not able to do that sort of stuff yet. I mean, I've yet to see any lip syncing that looks believable at all. But you can still do a lot of things that are cool and interesting and really high quality. So, I think it's just a matter of figuring out how and where to use it. It's not exactly a one-to-one replacement of the old way of doing things. It's sort of another way you could do something.
Yeah. I love that you say it's not a one-to-one replacement, because it's as if you could see my follow-up question, which is many creators fear AI will replace human creativity. What's your take on AI as a tool for storytelling rather than a replacement for creators?
I mean, I think it's sort of dependent on the creator. And are you the type of person who is constantly chasing your curiosity and constantly creating because you feel you have to? You have a story to tell or a point of view, or you want to express yourself or something. Yeah, I mean, it's going to make you better if you are trying to get better. It will level up all of the bad and it will level up all of the good. And if you're the type of creator that just wants to sort of cough out terrible stuff as quickly as possible to just like game the system, and like you're not there for the art of it, then your stuff is going to look better and you'll be able to fool more people with your garbage. But like there'll be a lot of artists and professionals that are utilizing these tools to be way more creative than they ever could before, because the gap between your imagination and what you can output has just really shrunk. If you have a dream at night, you can wake up and make that dream a video by lunch. Like
Oh,
that was not possible before,
yeah,
and that's exciting.
yeah. Is it a lot of
For me, just for example, like the two videos you asked about were both stories that were I chose. They were kind of personal to me for different reasons, but they were untellable for me before because they were in like deep history that I had no access to.
yeah,
I had to be able to invent these images in a believable way, and I have only been able to do that for the last year.
yeah.
So,
I like,
so it just unlocks a lot of stories for
yeah.
people. That's the point. Yeah.
You see, AI is being used for everything, right? From script writing, to ideation, to generating the visuals, to putting together the voiceovers and all those things, right? For me, for most creators, there are a lot of persons who they've not even started tinkering with the power of AI. So, what would you say is like the biggest opportunity for them for creators in this space?
I think the real opportunity is with wherever your individuality lies, whatever makes you unique, whatever your references are as a creator, bring those in. You can now, one thing that I've started to really enjoy is like making image generation models based on artists that I've always loved. But now I can like mash up their styles and create a different model that I can produce images with.
Yeah,
I can be like, I want to kind of like create a new look between my favorite photographer and my favorite comic artist or whatever, and like kind of play with that and then create projects in that aesthetic. I mean, it's just like it's unbelievable.
yeah.
Just the scale of the opportunity from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah, I feel like this period in which with the power of AI and all that, I think the limit is the people who are going to take the take charge of the opportunity are those who are good thinkers, those who can really come up with really good creative thoughts, right?
Yes, but I think there's just a really like a lot of latent creativity out there. Like I think everybody has it. And not only that, but AI can help us develop it. I mean, chatting with ChatGPT about creative stuff is a pretty great way to level up your creative ideas if you haven't been honing that skill for a while. Like you could just go to ChatGPT and be like, hey, I've never made a video before. I need to kind of learn more about how to do it before I get started so that I don't make a bad one.
Yeah,
And you can do that all along the way too. I still do that now when I hit a point where I'm like, I don't really know what I should do here. I'll go talk to ChatGPT about it,
yeah.
and work through it and then get back to work.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good thing you mentioned ChatGPT because my question is, what are some AI tools or AI workflows that you would recommend for content creators who want to experiment with AI in storytelling?
Um, ChatGPT is sort of the can't live without for everything research, early development, ideation, stuff like that. Maybe even storyboarding can do pretty decent storyboarding. And then I love Midjourney. I think it just has sort of I just love the controls, the different ways it allows you to create imagery is something I find incredibly useful. But I don't use it exclusively anymore. I do some generation elsewhere. I think Free Pick is a great place for video generation, image generation, where you can try lots of models. 11 Labs is incredible for audio, sound effects, voiceover, things like that. And I like Udio if you want to make some music.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the fact that you mentioned audio too because one of the uh one of the drawbacks, or let's not let me not just call it drawback. Let me call it one of the thoughts that like hold me back when I want to make music with AI is like, what about copyrights? Because I'm like, what if I use the music and then later on I get a copyright strike and stuff like that? So what would you say about the copyright of using AI music and all those other things?
Well, music isn't really my area. I'm in video, and when it
Yeah,
comes to music, it's a little different because if you're sampling something, the intention is you're going to hear the sample in the
yeah.
song. You're supposed to hear that little part of that song that you took it from. Whereas with video, you're not doing that. You're bringing it to a model that can manipulate it and blend it with other images and blend it with the prompts that you give it and then do versions of those images it made based on what you like, and then you're gonna maybe do some additional effects and blend it with lots of other things like it. In the end, it's very far from a one-to-one replacement in the way that a music sample is, and I think puts most of it in pretty fair use territory.
Yeah. I think that's like another that could be a full episode on its own on AI music and copyright. Now, for someone just getting started, and I mean you've worked on some remarkable projects with AI video and all that. How accessible would you say is AI powered video production?
I mean, it's very accessible. It's not expensive to try a lot of these tools that will allow you. Most of the tools these days have a sort of a premium model where you can try them out for free a little bit and get a sense of it. And then if you like it and feel like you're going to be using it a lot, then you can pay for a subscription tier. And there's usually a few of those. So they make it pretty easy. You can do monthly. If you're not using something, you can turn it off, which I'll do because sometimes if I am full swing with a project, I might have a number of different subscriptions active. But then if that project is done, I might not need them all that month and I can save $100 or something if I cancel five of them. So you can do that. I mean, they make it that easy. And I mean, it's all really learnable. I mean, it's just incredible what you can just generate on the spot. So it's as accessible as it's ever been
Yeah.
by a lot.
When I hear AI video, one of the things I think is, well, that's exciting. I've seen some of the examples on YouTube and on tutorials and all that. And for me as a content creator, so what I'm thinking is, okay, yeah, that this is exciting, but what are some of the use cases you'd recommend this AI video for creators? What would you say? Okay, these are the couple of things you could use AI videos for.
Well, I was just thinking tonight I might just go on TikTok and find a new song that's trending and make a music video to it
Wow.
with AI tools
Wow.
because I can. And it's okay to do that. And then you might get noticed by the artist because you make something awesome with their music. And you can make it about their lyrics. If you listen a few times, you can be like, okay, and get an idea and then go make the damn thing in like a day and then post it with that song. And then who knows? Maybe they look you up, maybe that launches your life into a different stratosphere. Or maybe you need to do it every day for 2 years and then it happens. But like you can do that stuff, you no longer need any permission from anyone to do anything. You can just make it. You don't need to ask, you don't need money. You shouldn't be asking anyone. You should be making things that are uniquely yours because that is an incredible opportunity in and of itself, that you have the opportunity to make something that is your vision.
Yeah.
People should not take that for granted. That's something I worked for 20 years to get to, and now people have that. So
Yeah.
it's a really valuable thing to just have that opportunity.
Yeah, you made mention of music video. I'd love to probe and follow up on that question again and get you to go a bit deeper on that. What apart from music video, I'm thinking ads. What other things could creators use it for?
Yeah, I mean, ads. Are a huge opportunity. I mean, there were so many companies doing video already, right? But now there's going to be so many more that can play the game. because it costs so much less and there are so many more creators they can tap to make cool stuff. So, I think, and now as a creator, you can make things proactively, like I was just talking about. So if there's a brand that you really want to get their attention and maybe try to pitch them some work, you could just make the piece and send it to them or post it. And then, how if you're good, what brand wouldn't be happy that you did that, and that might get you going? And then obviously the goal is getting paid work from then on, but there'll just be so much demand for good creators that understand these tools, which means they can do it quickly at a high level. They understand how things might automate, how you can do this stuff at scale and things like that, so
Yeah. And that's true. Like AI has kind of made creating cheaper, right? Which means it made it accessible for a lot of persons.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you are an aspiring creator, even if you live nowhere near a major market and you don't know anyone in the industry and you didn't go to school for it, you can still take a shot every single day now.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
that's true. You've worked in both TV and AI driven content, right? What traditional storytelling techniques still hold strong even in the AI era?
Well, a video at the end of the day is still a video. If a client is asking for a video, that video is going to, if it's a minute long video, for let's say it's a 30-second video, you might be that might be comprised of 20 little clips and a bunch of sound effects and music and voiceover. And you might now get those video clips from Runway or Kling or VO or whatever, instead of having sent a camera operator out to go shoot them. But at the end of the day, you still have to bring these assets in and you have to put them together in a way that tells a story that's interesting, and you're still spitting out a QuickTime or whatever it is. So in that sense, it's the same as it's ever been. It's just how are you sourcing your assets and how much faster can you go and how much more targeted can you tell your stories to your audiences because you're using AI to learn more about them and make stories more in a more personalized way or targeted way. Like all the ways that AI can level up what you're doing should be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot is happening in the AI world, like every day. Like you close your eyes and you open it, and the next thing you're like, wow, the train has moved. How possibly could creators keep a tab or put their how do I say it now? Kind of like be on top of the trend instead of being left behind.
I would think about, I would come at it from a project specific perspective. If you are interested in this kind of thing, then you're going to have an idea for a project or someone's going to propose one to you, and you're going to be faced with how might I make this today? Because the technology is changing so fast that question, the answer might change project to the next project. I've even changed it mid-project. It changes so fast. I'll go, "Oh, okay, I need this generator's not doing what I need well enough. I'm going to go over here." I have no loyalty to any one platform. That being said, I do have my preferences because I've spent a lot of time trying to learn this stuff. And because I've made a number of projects now, I kind of understand the core ones I can go to for certain things that give me the confidence I can make something. I can say yes to a client because I know I can do this because I've spent enough time in like Mid-Journey and Runway to know that I can get what I need to make this thing.
Mm.
So you got to get in there and you got to play with it and you got to have a project that drives your learning. Like every project teaches me a little bit something new about these tools because one project might need you to do images one way and one project might need you to do audio one way and one project might want, lip sync and one might want generated voiceover, and so each time you got to go figure that piece out in that moment and just remain really nimble and learning based so that you never shut that off. You're always just kind of like flexible and ready to grab whatever tool you need to do the job.
Yeah. When we talk about so far, I've been asking a couple of questions, and when we talk about it, it sounds like it's it's sci-fi. It sounds like it's speculations. It sounds like it's just stuff that that would probably happen, right? You get to work with a lot of clients, and you do video and AI video. I'd love for you to, if you could share with us a couple of projects you worked on in the past, and walk us through like how like from idea to finish.
So I've done a couple personal projects, and I kind of enjoy just looking really close to my own experience for inspiration. In one case, I did a documentary about my family ancestry. My dad had done some research about our family ancestry and had found a couple pictures of a relative of mine who lived in the 1800s. And he knew where he was buried, and he knew what he did for a living. He made barrels, and he knew that he was a volunteer firefighter, and he had four kids, and kind of a funny name, Rufus. And so I wound up making this sort of Ken Burns style documentary about him, using all the AI tools, and just kind of made pictures of him based on pictures I had and what I had learned about the place that he lived and what it looked like at that time. A lot of that was available on the internet, and I was able to, figure out what it looked like and generate that world and that kind of music and voiceover that he would have sounded like, and talk about his life and kind of interact with history in an exciting way and learn about how to make stuff with these tools. It just gave me an excuse to learn how to play with these tools, and it's a story that I couldn't have told otherwise. Otherwise it was just a stack of paper that my dad had, and it wasn't all that interesting to
Yeah.
look at.
But you brought it to
So
life.
yeah, yeah. And the other one was similar. My kids were learning history, and they had a textbook, and it was open to this page of the first artists. They were learning about the first human beings to make figurative cave drawings in Indonesia, like 35,000 years ago. And I just thought it was fascinating. And I thought about the very first person, like the single first human that did that. Like, what was their story? Because that person existed at some point in time, and I thought, now I could tell their story in kind of like a first person way. Like, we could be in the cave and hear the fire and like see the dangerous, beautiful world they lived in. And so then I just started like pulling artist references that I liked. There's this artist named Andy Goldsworthy who makes these really cool nature art things, and that fit in really well because this person would have lived out in the jungle.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and they were an artist. So I just kind of went with it and made this couple-minute piece about the first artists going out to sort of source the red ochre rocks that they use to crush up and blow against their hand on the wall and make the handprint that is still there today, which is just crazy.
Could you like walk us through the time and the cost of the each of the projects, the Rufus and then the first artist?
Yeah, the Rufus project was about 20 hours of work to make like I think it's 2 minutes long. But that's, I've been doing this a long time, so I'm pretty quick about it. So just take that into account. The first artist took longer, probably took me a couple months. Not, I wasn't working on it full time, but it probably took me a couple months to figure it all out. I generated 4,000 pictures to get down to 62. It was a difficult process to wrestle through it. So, it's very far from accessible to the average creator at the moment, but probably won't be for long.
Yeah. The first for the Rufus, you said 20 hours, and for someone who's listening would say, "Well, that's a lot." Could you like yeah, it's kind of like compare with what it will cost traditionally to create that exact piece of work if you wanted to like hire someone to video animate and do all those stuff.
I mean, you couldn't have done it without huge money because the imagery didn't exist. And I was able to use AI as a researcher and a writer. And I even made a custom GPT that was trained to be him. And I interviewed him and used that exchange for the voiceover that I would have had to get an actor to do, and like it just would have not been possible pretty much. And that's true. It's even more true with the first artists. I mean, you're talking about, how do you make a real jungle and a real cave environment with real actors and, cinematic cameras, and give me a break. I mean, you're in the millions of dollars. And I made it for a few $20 a month subscriptions and on my laptop, you know.
Yeah. Uh,
It's hard to compare.
Yeah, you gave us the timeline of what it took. You gave us the time cost. Can you like can you say roughly how much software you had to buy to do those work?
I probably spent a couple $100
Okay, for
on software over the course of that time, and over the course of maybe 7 or 8 different platforms that I bought into at that time to do different things.
yeah,
But so you're talking about, you know in the low hundreds of dollars.
yeah,
I needed my laptop. I have a MacBook Pro, so that wasn't nothing. But
yeah, yeah,
you don't need one. You don't need that.
yeah.
You don't even need that.
Yeah. That's true. This, if you were to do this stuff traditionally, assuming it would have been possible, it would have taken a longer time. A lot of persons on the team. It would have taken a lot of cost to set up the stage, to get an actor to do voiceover, and so many other things.
Right. So I think that that is a good thing to consider when you're thinking about use cases for this stuff, is like, what are the stories that you just couldn't have told? Because that's interesting ground now.
Yeah,
I've even seen that with there's a group buying up all the scripts that Hollywood never bothered to make, because there's a lot of them. And a lot of them were made because they didn't make sense from a cost perspective, or it was just too creatively big or whatever. But now with AI, you could imagine these, but they're written, they're like, they were professional writers in many cases. So it makes a lot of sense to kick all these ideas, kick them all open again.
yeah.
So, if you're thinking about how to monetize this stuff, that's, something you could think about.
Yeah, yeah. Earlier on, when I asked you to share some of your projects, you did differentiate that you have traditional projects and then you have the AI project. What do you mean when you say traditional project?
I just mean, shooting with cameras,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that way.
That's what I thought, but I just said let me clarify. In
Yeah.
this your traditional project, is there a way you do incorporate AI to kind of like make things faster and maybe smooth, and yeah, I'd love to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been some interesting things. A lot of the traditional software is baking in a lot of AI, like, Adobe and Canva, and a lot of these are putting in, like Adobe Premiere put in the remix tool, which, we used to have to, if you had a minute long song and a 23-second video, you'd have to cut the song down to the 23 seconds. And that's going to be really hard to do. Now there's just a way to drag it to the end of the video and it'll do it for you, which is incredible. Or, editing by text in a lot of platforms like Descript and Premiere now, where you can just sort of look at the transcripts and select the section of text that's interesting, and it understands that it should put it in a sequence. That's pretty cool. Like feeding interview transcriptions into an LLM to find sound bites that you want. You might feed a transcript to Claude and say, like, I'm making a 30-second commercial, um, or a promo. Can you give me a emotional opener with time code, followed by the who, what, when, where, why information, followed by an emotional closer, and it'll give you all this. It'll go find those and give you the time code, and then there's your rough cut. That just saved you like a day.
Yeah,
You know, stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Voiceover, scratch music track. I mean, it's just B-roll, sound effects,
yeah,
I mean, 11 Labs sound effects are crazy good. A lot of them.
yeah, yeah. So like you could even create like some really interesting bureau and add it to your video, and do some voiceover, and like there are a lot of creative ideas where a creator one could come up with and then make into a video, and not just I mean, as with the creator in the video actually. And yeah, I love how you shared some of your workflows of how you integrate ChatGPT and LLM into video creation, right? I'd love to like probe that a little bit. And the question I want to ask is, you've shared a couple of things you use ChatGPT for. Some of them you talk about ideation, finding sound bites for commercials and all that. You're someone who does video work for clients, and you are like in the trenches, both exploring AI and testing the limits and the edges of these AI tools, and then also incorporating it into the traditional video creation. What would you say are some tasks, right? Now, traditionally, someone who makes video as a content creator and post on, let's say, YouTube, right? What could you say are some tasks that you just notice that if they incorporate AI into, it's going to save them a ton of time. It's going to make them super productive.
I would just recommend treating it as a strategic thought partner the entire time. Every step of the way, be consulting it in an attempt to level up whatever thing you're working on. Because almost without exception, that can happen. Like, from the very beginning, if you're just like, hey, ChatGPT, like I just got my first client, or not even that, like I'm gonna pitch this client, and I want to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I've never done this before, but this is sort of what I'm thinking I can offer. Can you please help me get going and tighten up this whole idea, and give me some pointers, and just okay, you've now done that. Like, all right, I'm about to I'm about to, or maybe it's like it tells you, well, you should do a whole lot of research about this client first. Let me go do that for you and come back and tell you everything you need to know to prepare to talk to this important person you're going to pitch. Make sure that you understand their brand and their audience and their goals and whatever else you need to understand going into that pitch, or whatever. Or I just scored a project, and now I have to think about how to do this part of it I've never done before.
Yeah,
That happens every time. So now you have a way to ask for help. Oh man, I bit off more than I can chew. I need a way to figure this out. Like I said, I could do this animation, and the tool's just not doing what I thought. What am I going to do? And it'll help you.
yeah,
So just get familiar, get friendly with your favorite LLM. Give it a name and talk to it all the time on your phone about everything.
yeah. I feel
That's
like
what I would say.
in an age and in a period where you can literally have answers to any question you ask, the problem becomes you have to be willing to ask the questions.
Yeah, curiosity is like critically important. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
you got to just wake up curious and follow it all day long. Follow your unique curiosity, because that's the only place no one else is going.
yeah. Yeah, we've talked so much about AI storytelling, and you've shared some of the tools and some of the your workflows and processes. And I know my audience would gain a lot from that. I personally have learned a lot from that. I want us to talk about hypothetical situations, right? I want us to talk about what you see the industry changing to be in the next maybe the next day, in the next 5 years, because the speed at which AI is changing, sometimes things that we thought would be done in 10 years, so they've even done them in the past 6 months, and we're wondering. So, what are some of the predictions you see, and what are things that we need to take note of, or keep an eye on for?
I think the power is going to the individuals. And I think individuals that really learn how to harness AI technology for both all of the like operational benefits, like speed and, automation and stuff like that, but also production. People will get prolific at a level that will be sort of shocking, would be shocking today. Like, I think I could have my own Netflix where I've made every piece of content in 5 years, that kind of thing. and I might have my own audience, my own subscribers, my own platform, and everyone else might too.
I can imagine that world.
If you're good, it's exciting.
Yeah,
Or if you want to be good,
yeah,
it's exciting.
yeah, yeah. I like the fact that you said the power of individuals. With AIs and the way it has made creating accessible, what happens is that if you're willing and if you're curious enough, you could do it if you want to do it.
Yeah, I love it for that.
Yeah, you've talked about so much about the opportunities, some of the tips, the strategies, and even giving us some predictions of what could change in the industry. For someone listening right now, and they're like, I get it, that stuff is exciting, but nah, it's not for me, and they're like skeptical. What would you say? What advice would you give to such person using AI in their creative process?
Large language models like ChatGPT are general purpose tools, and we all have general purpose needs. So, my advice is take whatever it is you're thinking about today, your biggest challenge, whatever's on your mind, whatever's waking you up in the morning, bring that to ChatGPT or another one, and don't treat it like Google search where you try to use as few words as possible. How do I do this? Enter. Don't do it that way. Give it all the context that you can. Talk to it like a person and explain everything. And I find the easiest way to do this is with the microphone. Just speak it because it's really good at capturing speech. And, oftentimes I'll be like, I don't want to type all that. It's like, you get lazy about how much you want to type. You want to get to the good stuff. You want to get to the answers. But the truth is, if you speak it and then you look at it, you realize it wasn't that much information to begin with. It might be like a couple paragraphs, but give it 2 or 3 paragraphs of contextual information up front about whatever you're thinking about. And then just follow the rabbit hole. Just go. And if you don't find immense value over the next 20 minutes, then don't pick it up. But I guarantee you, your mind will be blown and you'll be excited.
That's a bold guarantee.
I mean, I guarantee it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
It's whatever you're interested in or challenged by, it can help you. It
yeah,
can add value to you.
yeah,
And everyone should go capture that value because it can improve your life.
yeah. Uh,
Bottom line, it can improve your life.
Yeah, and I understand where, like personally, I use AI for everything, and trying to when I see someone who's skeptical, I'm like, how can you be skeptical? Just taste and see.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a little scary, and like if you don't use technology much, why would it matter to you?
Yeah,
And a lot of the fears are real and legitimate. So I share a lot of the fears. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I think we're lucky that we get it early.
yeah,
But
yeah.
people will come around when they realize how it works for them.
Yeah, that's true. And for some persons, they've probably not been exposed to it, right? And it might sound like not exactly true, but certain persons they might be on the internet, but the internet in a way, because of algorithm and all these things, it shows you what you like seeing, and so sometimes you might not get to see what you don't even know, and or even question your old beliefs and traditions and all those things.
Yeah, and it can be a much safer and comfortable place to do that. I think that most people don't have the communication skills to like think rigorously out loud like the old way, like aside from like reading about things, but interacting with this tool that knows the entirety of the internet and human history and everything, you can go anywhere you want and it will just keep pace with you at the level that you're at, and no judgment. You know what I mean? Like, go learn, go follow whatever interests you.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun, and I think you'll find that you can have a lot more knowledge in your head, and there's a lot of just wonderful things to go.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. I've gotten so much value from this conversation, and I know my audience has gotten even more value from this conversation. Is there any question you feel like I should have asked regarding this topic that I did not ask?
no, I would just try to encourage people to give it a shot because I think it will benefit them, and I love the idea that people can have this resource, this very powerful resource. Everybody needs a hand, and this is a powerful one. So try it, use it, take the hand and let it pull you forward.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. Where can people find your work and connect with you?
I have an AI portfolio website called cgacreative.com. CGA are my kids' initials, and I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I spell my name a little funny, Erich Archer, but I'm pretty active there on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you so much for the value. It was fun chatting with you. Like, it was smooth, and I like the anecdotes and the metaphors you used to support some of your points.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. It's fun to talk to someone on the other side of the world.
That's it for today's episode of Wisdom Journey. If you found this insightful, helpful, and you learned a lot from this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your respective podcast listening platform. It really helps other persons discover the show. Yeah, keep creating, keep learning, and most importantly, keep sharing your journey. You never know who needs your wisdom today. You see what I did there? Until next time, stay inspired and keep going.